after the roof of an iconic nightclub collapsed in the Dominican Republic early Tuesday. Officials said at least 79 people were killed. Another 160 people were injured. Gattel played 15 seasons in the majors with 13 different teams. Blanco had a lengthy career in the minors before reaching the majors with the Washington Nationals in 2005. He also played in Japan and the Dominican Republic. Memphis Grizzlies starting guard Jalen Wells broke his right wrist on a hard fall on his arm and head from a midair collision at the end of a dunk during Tuesday's win over Charlotte. He was down for 8 minutes before being lifted onto a stretcher by medical personnel. The rookie season is likely over right before the Grizzlies start the playoffs. The Grizzlies looking to lock up a top 6 playoff spot. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive.
That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Whoa. More fiber?
What?
Down here, buddy. It's me, your spoon. Constipation with belly pain still coming back?
Yeah.
Talk to your doctor. It could be irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, but Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Get the Sports Grid mobile app and get gaming strategies and information faster than you can say, "No, honey, I know how to gamble," when your wife asks for $10 to get a scratcher. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the two best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, listen, I don't know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the Sports Grid Radio Network, Sirius XM Channel 159.
The best every day now officially underway. It is Moneyline. And it's your boy DRS. And I'm kind of upset today. If anybody was watching, the early line knocked off twice with power outages in my area. Never fun. But the boys are back in command. I knew I had a solo show today. I needed the power to come back on, and it did, and we survived. Shout out Joe Ranieri on the early show holding it down for a couple segments while I was out. But here we are today. And I tweeted out earlier, today's a Major League Baseball day today that we're going to get after it. There's a lot of early afternoon Major League Baseball. And by the way, starting at 12:35 p.m., you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games that are going to start at 4 p.m. or sooner today. Then you have a couple night games, 6 o'clock, 6:45, 7:05, 7:15, 7:40, then 8:40 tonight. So not a lot of late night baseball action, which is good. You know what also plays in the middle of the day? The San Diego Padres and the Athletics. That's out from Sacramento, which if anybody is following along with what the deal is in Sacramento, boy, that baseball is absolutely flying out of the ballpark. It's almost like it's an auto bet each and every day there. Now, do I usually subscribe to that? No. But maybe it continues today. Vasquez versus Bido. Minus 120 price, total now in the 10s. It's almost like Coors now light. You got Coors Field in Denver. There's the original. No other one like it in Major League Baseball. But this one looks like we have some power advantages that we can use. Now, let's get down to the business today. Shout out to everybody watching there live through with Restream on our YouTube channel, which is Sports Grid On Demand. Come in here, come in the chat box, say hello. More people subscribing every single day. The best way to reach your host here on the radio. You know it. I tell you every day. I'm in the chat box. I watch it. Shout outs, having some fun, putting some plays down. Go ahead and do that. Number 2, the Sports Grid app. One of the best in the business. Follow all of your favorite Sports Grid personalities there and get all the information you need. If you're listening through Sirius XM Channel 159, fantastic. SportsGridRadio.com, even better at that point. Make sure you're getting all the information you need by getting that live line towards us, and this is the best way to do it. But I want to talk Major League Baseball. And yesterday for me, overall was a losing day. You're going to have those in baseball. Understand this. The handicaps I thought were good. And I'm going to get into a new handicap in just a few moments. But just how tight some of these things can be yesterday. Because I'm just going to bring up on my phone. I know what I had yesterday. It was 2 plus money wagers, which I gave out online. They both ended up losing. I just want to get my facts straight just to explain, like, my goodness, like, how did this actually happen? Well, I mean, granted, it's Major League Baseball, it's handicapping, it's betting, so you're not always going to have those perfect nights. But late night last night, I really liked a Baltimore Orioles hitter prop total in the 1+1+1 marketplace. Game ended up yesterday a 4-3 victory for the Diamondbacks. So if I bring up the stats here, it's just getting some of this back. I had, was it Rutschman? I think it was Rutschman, Mountcastle. Mountcastle or Westman? Hold on. Rutschman, Westberg, and Mullins yesterday. All tied into one. 1+1+1 market. If you guys are new watching, it's 1 run and or 1 hit and or 1 RBI. You get one of those, you cash that ticket in. Rutschman goes 1 for 3 last night with a run, so obviously he cashed in. Mullins went 2 for 4 with 2 RBI and a run scored. He cashed in. But I didn't get Westberg there. And Jordan Westberg, who I did like the matchup, is having a pretty good start to the season. First inning. Looks like we're going to cash all 3 of those tickets there, which would have been plus money, and it was boosted. Would have been great. You get Westberg, who comes up with a runner on third base and less than 2 outs. The best scenario you can have. Put the ball in play. You're going to get an RBI. Doesn't matter if you get a base hit. He gets hit by a pitch. Brutal. All right. Lost that opportunity. Still only 1 out, though. Next batter comes up. And I think it was it O'Neill? Who was it? Oh, it was Cedric Mullins, who got one of his RBI there. Singles and knocks his guy to third base, which brings up Tyler O'Neill, who promptly grounds into a double play. So it erased it there. He never had a chance to do any damage the rest of the night. Didn't get any base hits in that game. I don't even think he got a walk. 0 for 3 with 2 Ks yesterday for Westberg. So in the first inning, if he's allowed to make contact, you cash that ticket. And also, if there's no double play ball with him on third base, you cash that ticket. So that one went up in flames. You live with that. It's disappointing. Understand that. Now let's get to Washington yesterday, which I put a couple of alternate team totals together, all at 2.5. And those games yesterday were, we'll start off in the beginning, the Mets over 2.5 runs. Easily hit. They scored 10 times yesterday and possibly could have had more. Also accompanied there was the Cubs, who scored 10 runs yesterday. Just needed 2.5. Also the Baltimore Orioles, who needed to score 3 runs or 2.5 runs. They scored 3, hit that. The one I lost was the Los Angeles Dodgers. They lost 8-2 yesterday. I needed them to get to 3 runs. You say, well, yeah, that happens sometimes. If I were to tell you before the game, my handicap on this was I got a cheat code. Scratched off the ticket and said, what did it tell me about this game? The Dodgers are going to hit 2 home runs in this one. Not knowing anything else about that game, the Dodgers will hit 2 home runs. You think you would cash that ticket of 3 runs. It didn't. Okay, you live with it. The Dodgers, runners in scoring position, were horrendous. But the ones that really hurt is like, you're laying around like, ooh, can I get some magic here in the 9th inning? Shohei Ohtani leads off the 9th inning with a base hit single. Like, oh, this is perfect. So now we can maybe get another base hit, maybe a couple productive outs, and sort of manufacture a run at that point. So as I bring up the box score here once again, just to get the play chart out, Miguel Rojas, who comes up second and flies out. Now, keep in mind, Miguel Rojas, who I don't even fault him actually for that at bat, to be honest. Because he sort of hit a flare to left field, and the left fielder made a nice play. Ohtani goes back to first base. But the reason why that you get a little bit upset, that's supposed to be Mookie Betts in the lineup right there. He was subbed out because they were getting blasted in that baseball game. So then you say, okay, there's 1 out. Oh, I'm going to need a hit now. The one thing that we love about handicappers, team totals, that if you have a chance late in the game at a blowout, you get some quirky things happen, which is defensive indifference. And if anybody doesn't know what that is, that means nobody covers second or third base. So Ohtani walks to second base with 1 out. Now I'm like, wow, okay. A base hit. We're going to score a run, and we're going to cash this ticket, but I still need a base hit. Which then brings up Hunter Fiducia. How do we pronounce that name? And why is he in the game? Because we're subbing out players. And the subbed out player there was Tommy Edman, which you much rather would have had him have it at bat. I say to myself, before he actually finishes the at bat, Ohtani walks to third base. You have one out now, and I have a player at the plate that just needs to put the baseball in play. He ends up walking. Like, ooh, I don't like that too much, because now it puts the double play back in order. But still, 9 times out of 10, put the ball in play. We're going to score a run. The Washington Nationals don't care about that run. So if it's a ground ball to the infield, they're playing back. They take the out. It's no big deal. Which then brings up Chris Taylor with a runner on first and third base and only one out. And Chris Taylor's in the game. Why? Because he pinch hit for Teoscar Hernandez, who you would have loved to have up at that point. So in the pivotal at-bat of the game for me, you know what I got? Ugarte struck out. Michael Conforto comes out. Need a base hit now. Michael Conforto strikes out. So those are the ways I lost 2 wagers yesterday at good plus money numbers. That's how it went down. Brutal. It happens. We're going to handicap this entire card today while I have you with me. Got my pen out. Pen out and my paper, and I'm ready to go. Also, cashed a real easy ticket yesterday. A little bit juicy. It was a minus 180 or so price. Win back $100. Before the blink of an eye, it was already home. And I think we might be on to something. I don't want to give these plays out just yet, but I'm going to explain what I'm looking at for future reference. Trust me, we'll be in action today. I'm hoping to win money. I'm going to put that handicap helmet on. Join me next. Moneyline. Let's go.
Download the Sports Grid mobile app.
Just do it.
You might as well get it.
We're not going to shut up about it until you do.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
With the Sports Grid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. A Tennessee man has been sentenced to 76 years in prison for killing 2 men and wounding a third at a shooting at a high school basketball game more than 3 years ago. 21-year-old Jaden Hardiman was sentenced Monday after he was convicted in November of charges including second-degree murder. The shooting took place at a basketball game between Humboldt and Northside High Schools on November 30th, 2021. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is running for the U.S. Senate in a primary challenge against Republican Senator John Cornyn. Paxton made the announcement on Tuesday after spending more than a year openly flirting with the Senate challenge. The University System of Georgia announced it is consolidating East Georgia State College and Georgia Southern University. The Board of Regents will vote on the plan to close the school next week, which arose after years of declining enrollment at East Georgia State. I'm Trey Westerberg with the Sports Grid News Flash.
Something amazing is happening. Despite a citywide blackout, this company is still up and running. That's because CDW deployed and managed a cost-effective Eaton Triplite Series Smart Pro UPS to safeguard equipment easily and reliably. Keep the power on and protect your IT equipment from electrical challenges. Triplite by Eaton and CDW. Make amazing happen. Find out more at cdw.com/triplite.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
A little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company.
Let's make something crystal clear. The winning edge has nothing to do with increasing good luck. Luck has nothing to do with it. It's sports gaming strategies and information. You want luck? Flip a coin. You want to win? Flip it here. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Go. On the win. It's winning time on Moneyline today. Donnie right side. Solo mission. Sirius XM channel 159. It's how we get down to business here. Game number 1 is going to start at 12:35. But before we got to that, I just wanted to go over some of the thought processes yesterday. I'm going to continue with the all-team totals. I think they're fun, and I think they're manageable, and I can win money at those. Also, you know me. I love the 1+1+1 market. They make sense in a game that you think is going to be fairly high scoring. What I tried last night on a certain sports book, and a couple of these do have it, were alternate team totals over the first 5 innings combined. That means both teams here. I hit all 4 of those wagers last night, no later than the second inning in any one of those games, which means either team to score 2 runs. Not like, hey, you know what? The Dodgers got 4, but the Nationals got 0. No, between both teams, first 5 innings, to score 2 total runs. Sounds easy. Yes, of course, there's losing options there. It's heavily juiced, though. Those are the issues. And if you want to bump it up, like 2.5 runs, 3.5 runs, 4.5 runs, 5 runs, even on a certain sports book, which was BetMGM, they actually let you go with the singular runs. Like you can go 1.5 runs, 2 runs, 2.5 runs, 3 runs, 3.5 runs, 4 runs. So again, the juice changes every time you ladder up, but you can still get a push as opposed to an automatic win or lose. Like let's just say the FanDuel Sportsbook, they might only let you go 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. And some games, they don't even let you get as low as 1.5. They didn't do that yesterday for the Dodgers. MGM did that. And MGM's price points were a little bit better than FanDuel's at the same time. So look, Kristen Hester checking in. My guy Eron Shun's checking in here on Sports Grid On Demand. Thanks for watching the show and supporting it. But that's the emerging market here. I'm not going to put those plays out until I get a little bit of a test run here, which means today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then if it's profitable, on Monday, I will tweet those tickets out. I love to tweet tickets out. So anybody out there listening now, man, where can I find Donnie's plays? Not rightwager.com is always up, but it's not where I put my plays and focuses now. Since I've been live on the air here at the Sports Grid Network, they treated me well. I like to share everything I can for free with the fans. So follow me at Right Side VP on Twitter. If you're just listening now, when I have tickets or information, I always give it out and let the people know. Hard luck losers on the 2 I had yesterday, but I did win behind the scenes. And trust me, if this does work, I want to share it with you guys, have some fun with it because it's such a good market that I think could be emerging. You'll pay some juice, but the juice is worth the squeeze. We'll end up doing it again. So just wanted to put that PSA out there right now. So let's get started on the card today. 9:51, 9:52, 12:30 p.m. start today. St. Louis and Pittsburgh. Eric Fetty's on the mound, the right-handed pitcher for St. Louis against right-hander Mitch Keller for the Pirates. Line is right around a pick 'em, depending on when you're shopping at. And the total is listed at 7.5. In this game today, 43-degree temperatures. It's going to be cold. A lot of these cities today, we'll be capping in cold weather. You take a look at the wind blowing out, 5 miles an hour to left field. It's better than it blowing in. Marginal if it will help out. Eric Fetty last year, very good pitcher, 726 innings pitched, 148 ISO and a weighted on-base percentage of 296. That was really good. He's faced 37 batters this year. And how many innings does he have? 9 total innings pitched. ERA is at 7. His xFIP is 6.01. So struggling to start the season, but not last year. The Pittsburgh Pirates have a bad offensive lineup, particularly against right-handed pitching. And primarily, it's probably against left-handed pitching as well. Sawinski, Reynolds, Bart, Rodriguez, Frazier, and Pham. All really low ISO power numbers. The only slightly elevated weighted on base percentages are Andrew McCutchen, Joey Bart, and Cabrian Hayes. But left-handed batters is where it gives Fetty the most issues. So here's where if we take a look at this game and you try to put a singular focus on Pittsburgh's side. Lefty is where it would go. Adam Frazier, who I do like as a baseball player, batting out of 7-hole, terrible. Guy's been terrible against right-handed pitching this season. Out of the 2-hole, Brian Reynolds, one of my favorite players to bet in Major League Baseball. His start to the season through 37 at-bats against righties, an .059 and a weighted on-base percentage of 245. That's really bad. Jack Sawinski, center fielder, left-handed hitting, .048 ISO, weighted on-base percentage of 193. I'm trying to squeeze somebody in there, but I don't even know if I need to be honest. Let me flip it over to St. Louis and make a play for this one. Mitch Keller is going to be on the mound. And this season, just looking at his stats, I show 48 batters that he's faced this year. Slightly higher weighted on base percentage to left-handed batters since he's a right-handed pitcher. Last year, through 400 batters to lefties, he struggled ISO power number and weighted on base percentage. He has 9.2 innings pitched this year, 4.64 xFIP number. So it was a little bit elevated, but again, limited sample size. So lefties, again, is where we would look for the St. Louis Cardinals in this game. Lars Nootbaar, 36 at-bats against right-handed pitching so far. 388 weighted on base percentage, which is really good, and a low K rate and a good walk rate of 11%. Because the ISO power number is low, we're not really worried about does he get doubles, triples, and home runs. We just want him on base, and 368 against right-handed pitching to start the season is really good. Brendan Donovan, a left-handed batter, due to bat third today. 161 ISO, which is right around average, just a below average, but his weighted on base percentage through 34 at-bats, 465 at a low K rate. Alec Burleson's a left-handed batter, has struggled ISO power number and average to below average weighted on base percentage. Same thing with Victor Scott. So for me today, if I look at St. Louis and I go with Nootbaar out of the leadoff, and the good part about too is sometimes when you're on the road, you know you're getting the full 9 at-bats, and that could be key at the end of the game to squeeze in an extra one. And I'm going to write down Brandon Donovan. So now I'm going to go over to Bet365. Let me see. It looks like with all these delays that I had this morning, sort of took that off. So let me log in because I just want to see, and sometimes you can get away with it, and the lines will still be juicy with a 2-leg Major League Baseball player parlay on the 1+1+1 market. So I'm going to go to player props right now, slide it all the way down, and you see where it says, let's see, where is it here? Total hits, runs, and RBI. You can go over under, which is 1.5, or you can just ladder up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does it go to 6? It goes to 6. Oh my goodness! It actually goes up to high as 8. Like you took Brian Reynolds today to get 8 total 1+1+1s. That's 40-1. I guess if you have guys like Pete Alonso, did Pete Alonso get there? Like 4 RBI, a couple base hits and runs? My goodness. I don't know if I could ever level up that high. Maybe one day I'll do that this summer. Just have a really good day that sort of matches up and just level it all the way up. But as we get back to the news, Lars Nootbaar for 325, 1+1+1. Brandon Donovan is at 360. That's minus 165. It's a little expensive. But those are the two guys I'm looking for, and I've circled. We'll see if we can include them in the for today. Sonny writes out its Moneyline for handicapping Major League Baseball for afternoon action. Let's do it.
Get the Sports Grid mobile app. It's much easier to carry than your lucky horseshoe.
And you won't get stopped at the airport.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1981, Fernando Valenzuela wins his first start for the Dodgers and went on to win a Cy Young and was named Rookie of the Year that season. As Fernando made his spread across America, the rookie won a critical Game 3 over the Yankees in the series.
Crowd standing now as one, exhorting the rookie on.
For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
New University of Ottawa research says if you're a member of the Polar Bear Club and like to take a dip in the ocean during sub-zero weather, you might actually be extending your life. This study finds acclimating your body to repeated exposure to immersion in cold water for an hour over 7 days supercharges cellular resistance, the body's natural mechanisms cleaning out damaged tissue. If you want to try this for yourself and you're not quite ready to jump into the Arctic Ocean, maybe just try a cold shower. Follow me at G Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
They do this guy and the GM with 3 games left. I think it's a mistake at this point. I do believe that this will cost them their season. Now, what are they going to have a dog coach him now during the playoffs? Who's going to coach him? Is Joker going to be the coach? The guy had won a championship. He's been the coach of the year. Now all of a sudden he sucks.
It's Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge. The Sports Grid Radio Network.
There are too many people addicted to their phones these days, unless it's to look or listen to the Sports Grid mobile app.
In fact,
you should delete all your apps but ours.
Your wife texts you too much anyway.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Nootbaar and Donovan circled those for St. Louis and Pittsburgh. By the way, guys, that game gets under 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Not saying I'm definitely playing it because I do want to find a third. I like to keep those games all together. But I do think those are two quality options, and we'll circle back once we have that, a little bit more games under our belt. New York Mets and the Miami Marlins coming up. Cashed in that ticket yesterday easily with and this is sometimes where you should level up your own place. I got 2.5 in a parlay. I could have went up to 9.5. My goodness, the payout would have been tremendous on that. Miami takes on New York today. Meyer versus McGill, 110 start. A 205 favorite here for the New York Mets. A 7 total listed across the board. Weather conditions, cold, same way they were yesterday. The wind, not as windy, though. There was a lot of wind yesterday. Scored a lot of runs for the Mets. So just when you see wind, don't get scared. Maybe it limits the damage on the home runs, but these guys can still get base hits, and pitchers can still struggle because they don't like pitching in cold weather, the same way hitters sometimes don't necessarily like to hit in cold weather. But 45 degrees, 7-mile-an-hour wind blowing in. If we're lining this game up, because again, official starting lineups are out to 1 o'clock start, obviously. Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo, Marte to start that lineup. They've had success against right-handed pitching. And Max Meyer is on the mound. Last year, 249 batters he faced, a 284 ISO power number, and a weighted on base percentage of 389. That's combined between lefties and righties. Equal opportunity, he's gotten torched. Let's fast forward to this year. Take a look at Max Meyer. How many innings has he pitched here? Let me just go over to see if it's listed. Where you at, Maxie? Max Meyer. Oh, he's actually third on the. He's got a, by the way, an xFIP of 278, 2.78. That's tremendous. So when you look at his numbers from last year, like, boy, I didn't expect that. He's got 11.2 innings pitched. Again, it's really low. We're still in the month of April here, early parts. 3.09 ERA, just as a baseline to use. But the 2.78 xFIP through those 11.2 innings, that's actually really good. Now, this season, he's dominated lefties as a right-handed pitcher. Struggles against righties, though. The same elevation we saw last year through 123 right-handed batters is there this year. A 200 ISO and a 460 weighted on base percentage. So if you're looking at that lineup today, Lindor will bat lefty. Might not be on your card, even though he did hit a leadoff home run yesterday. Juan Soto's got great numbers against righties. But as I told you, this year so far, Max Meyer's been very good against lefties. Pete Alonso's been crushing the baseball. That's one of those guys that you would probably look at. So I'm just going to write New York Mets, and I'm going to write down Pete Alonso's name. Also behind him, Brandon Nimmo, 231 ISO, but he's a lefty. Might want to stay away from them today. Starlin Marte, only 9 at-bats, however. Going up against right-handed pitching, he's got some pretty good numbers with a 500 ISO. Again, it's limited at-bats. So I don't know if I want to go up with Starlin Marte today, per se. What is this? What has he been doing lately, though? Only 9 at-bats. Just want to get a quick checkpoint here on some of his game logs. 2 base hits yesterday, so riding the hot hand, that's never a bad thing. But he went hitless. Like he didn't play on the first or the second, then played on the fourth, didn't get a hit, then played on the fifth, didn't get a hit, then played on the sixth, didn't get a hit. Limited at bats, though. This is a guy that looks like maybe he's getting subbed in or out for, so I'm going to stay away from Starlin Marte. But I'm going to look at Pete Alonso as one of those early guys. So if we take a look today, and this might work, like we might be able to do like a little like joint process here. So let me go down back to the total hits and runs and go for Donovan again and Lars Nootbaar. That sets up a minus 165 price. Now, the good part, again, on these sports books, you can mix and match and go back to different games. So I'm going to go to player props on the Mets and the Marlins right now. And I'm going to slide it down to that same 1+1+1 market, which is total hits, runs, and RBI. Keep in mind, I use Bet365. I think the prices are a little bit better, but other outlets have this. The FanDuel Sportsbook has it this year, and they can go down as far as the one there. So let me see Pete Alonso today. He's 270. So when you combine the two, that's a plus 120. That's not bad for an early start, right? Brandon Donovan, Lars Nootbaar, and Pete Alonso in the 1+1+1 market, plus 120 price. I'm going to write that down. And again, we have some time, even when the show's over, still have a half hour before that. But I think that makes the most sense here so far, just looking from that perspective. Tyler McGill's on the mound here for the Mets. He's been really good this season through 40 batters. And if I look at his xFIP number on the season, again, only 10.1 innings, 3.71, which is very good. But that lineup for the Marlins stinks. So out of those first 2 games here, 12-35 and 110, I think we have something decent there with a 3-way Donovan, Nootbaar, and Pete Alonso. Nothing really from a team total perspective, because I'm not in love with either one of those colder temperatures, but I think this might make some sense so far as we start. So we'll keep it there right now. Next game we'll tee up, and we'll probably get to it here after the break. That's the New York Yankees and the Detroit Tigers. If we look at the line in this game, and the Yankees are a little bit cold at the plate right now. This game, and again, why is this out of whack? Is this different times that they're changing up for me here? So Texas, New York, there we go. Fried versus Flaherty, 7 total, which we don't like, and a line that's moving in the direction of the New York Yankees. We're going to take a look at this baseball game after the break to see if we can match up some of these pitchers and hitters, and also try to take a look, hopefully, down the list, fit in some team totals as well. I love handicapping Major League Baseball. I know you guys love it as well. Moneyline on a Wednesday. I'll be right back.
This is the place. This is where you'll get expert perspectives and sports gaming strategies 24/7. And it's free. Beat that, you cheap. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. The Denver Nuggets have fired head coach Michael Malone. They also won't extend the contract of GM Calvin Booth. The decision to part ways with the staff that won a championship in 2023 comes at a time when the Nuggets have lost 4 straight and are in danger of falling into the play-in round. Nuggets owner Josh Kroenke and the timing of the firings.
With that thinking in our mind that we know that we're going to be changing these roles at the end of the season, then your mind then turns to, well, what is the best decision for this group right now? And, from that point forward, I think that, I became comfortable with the thinking of, let's try to shake this tree and squeeze as much out of this as we can. And that's where we arrived at with the decisions today.
The regular season wraps up this coming Sunday with the play-in round starting next Tuesday. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive.
That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Hey, fellow Gen Xers, it's Elizabeth Banks. Big news. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the charge. After all, we gave the world the internet. We're trailblazers. Let's lead the way again because we are at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Head to VaxAssist.com and schedule today. That's VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's business solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
If sports talk stations were buffets, we'd be the one with the line out the door where every night is rib night and you came alone because the crowd gives you a measure of cover so you won't get any grief for going back 9 times. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Right back at it here, Sports Grid Network, Moneyline on a Wednesday, handicapping. May have found something early that we can dig on. Now let's take a look. 1:10 p.m., New York Yankees, Detroit Lions, Tigers. Lions, Tigers, Bears, oh my. Detroit Tigers, excuse me. Low total at 7, 44 degrees, wind blowing in from right field at 9 miles per hour. Max Fried last year, sensational all the way through. This year, 52 batters. He's got a very good ISO power number, weighted on base percentage. A little bit higher, though, against lefties. And it's funny because he's a left-handed pitcher, but he's dominated righties. So I look at this lineup today and say, I don't want anything to do with the Detroit lineup. I flip it over to the Yankees, who struggled, to say the least, yesterday. Jack Flaherty's on the mound. Struggled a little bit last year with right-handed pitching. He's a right-handed pitcher with right-handed batters. This year, he's been very good against right-handed batters. Limited statistics, 21 to righties. 23 batters to lefties. It's a little bit higher. Let me see what he's done. What's his ISO numbers here? So let's say Jack Flaherty, xFIP, is 3.56 and an ERA that's low. I think we're going to lay off the Yankees game, even though you look at this and say, well, maybe he can get down to left-handed batters. Like you might be on Ben Rice today, Jazz Chisholm, Jason Dominguez. I think I'm going to probably end up regretting this, but I'm going to lay off. I'm going to lay off this one. And if those lefties for the New York Yankees step up to the plate and do some damage, I'm going to get upset. But I'm going to lay off this one and say, you know what, there might be some better opportunities out there. Texas and Chicago. Just get my odds board together correctly here. So go Texas and Chicago next. Molly versus Imanaga. 7.5 line across the board. Heavy favorite here for Chicago, about 166 to 170, depending on where you're shopping at. Now, if we load this one up here, let's get this FanDuel Sportsbook out of here. It's throwing me off. Okay. Molly on the season, 29 batters faced. Let me get his extra numbers here. Is he up in the top 2? Like, where is this guy at? Where you at, Molly? Okay, there we go. 4.90 xFIP number, but an ERA of 1.35, and that's through 6 2/3 innings. So he does have some good numbers this year. Last year's right-handed pitcher struggled with right-handed hitters. We do have a very good lineup today, once again for the Cubs, because they are banging the baseball around. Still cold conditions in Chicago, normal for this time of year, 43 degrees. Little bit of precipitation in the forecast, but a double-digit wind finally blowing out. Tucker, Suzuki, Bush, Swanson have been annihilating the baseball based on ISO power numbers. But if you're just being true to the number, Mahle didn't pitch a lot last year. Didn't pitch a lot this year. Walks people a little bit too much. Strikeout rate to lefties very good. So probably more of a right-handed focus is what you would be paying attention to. I don't know if it's an auto bet like for Suzuki or Swanson. It makes sense, but again, we're not getting the numbers that we love, right? Like last year he struggled, but only 29 bats that he faced right-handed batters last year. So I'm going to pass on this game. Let me just take a look at Texas. Imanaga was good last year, good again this year. We're going to pass on this game entirely at 220, which then brings the focus up for us here for San Diego and the Athletics. Let me see if I can find the forecast here for this game, because some of the algorithms on different sites still don't pick it up out there in Sacramento. Let me just double check here. There's a couple sites that I have. Let me just hit the refresh button because I want to see what the temperatures this afternoon are going to be in Sacramento. Because we're starting that game East Coast time at 3:35, but that's a 12:35 spot out on the West Coast. And it doesn't list the weather there either. So if I don't really just want to go Sacramento weather, but I guess I'm going to have to right now. Well, let's get into it right now. So I got Sacramento, city of Sacramento. We'll go weather. 56 degrees, it says right now, but a high of 82. So that temperature going to be pumping up this afternoon. Now, granted, it says windy conditions, but I don't know what's, at the stadium itself. We'll go hourly today. What do we got hourly here? 9 a.m., 10 a.m. How about 12:30 out there today? 73 degrees. It's going to be warm this afternoon. So that's okay. So positive weather conditions. 10 is the total in this game, which you love to see. A favorite towards Oakland. Now let's take a look at these pitching matchups here. Vasquez last year was a bad pitcher through 432 batters he faced. Average ISO, high weighted on base percentage. Lefties clocked him pretty good. This year, however, through 44 batters, he actually has some good ISO and weighted on base percentage numbers, but I do see the K rates that are extremely low. So let's see what Vasquez has out here. He's got a 6.58 xFIP number and ERA of 1.69, which again, when you're not striking people out, that's troublesome. However, here's the caveat. Butler, Rooker, Blade, Langoliers, Andahar, Brown, Urshela, and Muncy, all horrible ISO power numbers against right-handed pitching. But the only guy in this list you would look at is Jacob Wilson, who's a shortstop batting right-handed. He's got some pretty good numbers against right-handed pitching. Lawrence Butler, he's got a 383 weighted on base percentage, which you really like that as a lefty. That could be a guy that you play in this game. So let me just take a look. Because again, we have two sides to every equation. The St. Louis New York Mets equation looks pretty good right now. Let's go to A's, and I'm going to write down Lawrence Butler as a possible player. Okay? Now we'll flip it over to San Diego. We'll get a good read on this one right here. Shout out to the X-Man, Virginia to Jersey. Absolutely my guy. Checking into the chat box right here. Live with Restream. Sports Grid on demand on the YouTube network. Let's get to the Padres. Osvaldo Bido. Last year through 258 batters, very good statistics. Both lefties and righties was dominant. This year, 26 right-handed batters. They're getting the best of them here at this point. But lefties, a 0 ISO power number once again. Bido, though, however, through his 10 innings pitched, a 2.70 ERA and a 6.01 xFIP number. But I don't see, I guess it'd be Manny Machado, right? Bogarts, Machado. So if we go Bogarts, Arise, Machado, Sheets, Iglesias, anticipating that starting lineup, Machado would make some sense, and so would Xander Bogarts. So let's see if we can go. And again, I'm not in love with this one, though, to be honest. It doesn't play perfectly. But out in that environment on the West Coast, sometimes it's hard to pass up. So I'm going to go Machado and also Bogarts. Sometimes my writing is horrible. All right, Bogarts. Now let me take a look at what that price point would be. See if that one makes some sense to do. Already told you about Donovan, Newpar, and Alonso. I think that one makes a lot of sense there. Let me just take that one down, and we'll get some new pricing out on this game. And once again, it's a West Coast game starting earlier out there. Not worried about shadows or anything like that, which is fantastic. So let's go to player props, slide it all the way down. and we'll take a look at the total runs, hits, and RBI market. Lawrence Butler, minus 400. Manny Machado, minus 400. Xander Bogaerts, minus 340 to minus 105. It's not bad. It's not bad. So I'm going to circle that as a chance for a possible opportunity that you want to take advantage of in a ballpark that's given up home runs on a warm day and a total is listed at 10. Do I love the pitching matchup? Not necessarily, but maybe we can make some sense of making a profit in that game. All right, let's move it out to the West Coast, or keep it on the West Coast, I should say. Baltimore and Arizona, 979, 980 on the rotation, a 340 start. Kramer versus Fought, minus 124 price point to minus 125, depending where you're shopping. Baltimore and Arizona with a total listed at 9 today. So let's take a look here against Kramer. We'll start with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Last year was very good against right-handed batters, average against left-handed batters. This year, very good once again against right-handed batters, and he's right around average with left-handed batters with a slightly elevated weighted on base percentage. If we look today at, let's see how he's down that list here. So we got Dean Kramer. 451 ISO power number, a little bit elevated, but again, not very many innings pitched to start the season. So if we're focused probably on a left-handed side, Corbin Carroll's been crushing the baseball. Pavin Smith's got a high weighted on base percentage, and so does Josh Naylor. Okay, so you got three guys in this lineup. Let's continue with the Arizona Diamondback Baltimore Orioles game after the break here. Might be able to put something together in this one. Optimistic winning bets today. You guessed it. Go down the right side of the Moneyline. Super.
Winning is not just beating the odds. It's the thing that keeps the wife smiling and your kids in respectful awe.
Oh, Father. Now cut that out.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. After capturing their first national championship since going back-to-back in 2006-2007, the Florida Gators are celebrating Monday night's 2-point victory over Houston. Gators head coach Todd Golden.
A heck of an accomplishment. I'm super proud of everybody in my program, top to bottom. My staff, who's been together for 3 years, has worked incredibly hard to help get our players to this point. And our players, they've been the difference all the way along. Been incredibly consistent all year.
On the other side, Houston head coach Kelvin Sampson told his team to be proud of what they accomplished.
I told our guys after the game to be disappointed you lost, but do not be disappointed in your effort. Defending Florida is difficult. They got a really, really good team.
Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive.
That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine and More. The place to go for sipping rosés with seltzers on ice, making margaritas with your favorite tequilas. It's warm out, let's go. Our prices are low on spirits, beer, and wine. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21. One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
You've heard of smart bombs, smartphones, smart cars, smart watches, and smart glasses. Now you can add smart player, giving you sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
We're cooking now, boys. We're cooking. Guys and girls, we're cooking. All four in Arizona. No team total parlay, no doubt about it's going to be part of this game. And also, one of those first 5 innings alts I will be placing in this game as well. Brandon Fault's on the mound, who last year was a pretty good pitcher. Through this season, 12 innings pitched. He actually has a low xFIP of 3.53. Last year, he struggled against lefties. This year, again, through 33 at batters, he's struggling against lefties. You got a lot of lefties in the lineup today for the Orioles. Henderson, Rutschman, O'Hearn, Mullins, Kierstad, and also Holiday expected to be in that lineup. Gunnar Henderson just coming back doesn't have very good statistics. Rutschman is a switch hitter, whole bat lefty against Fault, fantastic. O'Hearn, fantastic. Mullins, fantastic. So right in the middle of that lineup, Rutschman, O'Hearn, and Mullins. I'm writing that down here. So go Rutsch, O'Hearn, and Mullen. All right, so there. 3 guys we love there. Going back to the Arizona side of things, as we told you, again, Dean Kramer struggled with lefties last year, struggled a little bit with lefties this year. The lefties, the spot that you want to get to. Corbin Carroll, Pavin Smith, and Josh Naylor. And by Geraldo Perdomo, also a switch hitter but doesn't have good stats. Those are 3 guys that I like there for them. So I'm going to write down another one. So we'll go Carroll. Okay. And we will go Smith. Fantastic. And we'll go Naylor. Now, we don't have the official lineups out just yet for this game, but that's a target. So we got that game circled all the way over. Alt team totals. Maybe take a look at the Baltimore Orioles around that 2.5 range. If we're going to put together a parlay there, I will be taking them 1.5 in the first 5 innings for both of those teams to combine for at least 2 runs. That's going to be an automatic for me this afternoon. But also 3 hitters from each team that do make some sense. So that's going to be a game that we actually really, really like. Let's move forward. Cincinnati and San Francisco, 3:45 start. For take a look at some of the odds in this game, let's see what you got. Martinez versus Verlander, minus 144 price for the San Francisco Giants, a 7.5 total. So weather conditions out there, probably the same thing. Yep, same thing. 68 degrees, wind blowing out the dead center field, which is what it always does in San Francisco. You look at Martinez, last year's 570 batters, actually had a very good season. This year, struggling, however. Let's see if I can find him on my list here, because it shows not very good K rates. Doesn't walk too many batters, but the ISO against through 44 batters is a 293. Goodness. Oh, look at this 31 results. Is there one more on here? Is he the worst pitcher? No, he's not. I thought I was going to get an update on some crazy stats here, but we didn't get it. So if I take a look at Nick Martinez, where is he? He's got to be low. He's got a 5.91 ERA and a 4.93 xFIP on the early season. So that means if we take a look at the lineup, and again, last year I told you, did pretty well against lefties and righties. This year struggling against both. So you know me. When it's a right-handed pitcher, I like to focus on left-handed batters. Lamonte Wade leadoff, anticipated for San Francisco. High ISO, low weighted on base percentage. Jung-Hoo Lee, good numbers there. Yastrzemski, good numbers. Boy, the middle of the lineup does look decent. Now, let me flip it over to the other side, because this just might be an alt team total if we can fit one in. Verlander's on the mound, who was bad last year. 36 batters he's faced this year. And where is he coming up? xFIP of 4.38, ERA of 6.14. Friedel, Dunn, De La Cruz, Lux, Encarnacion Strand. Who would we go with this? Because he has done well against lefties through 20 bats this year, but righties have been cracking him. Blake Dunn doesn't have a lot of statistics here. Ellie De La Cruz right in the middle might make some sense, and also Encarnacion Strand. This is one of those games where if I'm looking, boy, I wonder if I want to do this, though. I think we're going to go and put this down as San Francisco and Cincinnati. This is definitely going to be on my list for the first 5 alt. So that's definitely getting into play. I just want to make that note here on Arizona as well. First 5 alt. Okay, so we have 2 of those. I got to make a decision on this game because this might be a very fruitful one. I don't want to outsmart myself, but there's decent temperatures, not freezing cold, and 2 pitchers that might be had. I'm going to have to come back to this game, so I'm going to put an asterisk on that there. Washington and Los Angeles, who burned me yesterday. Absolutely they did. Maybe we come back on them today. Lines for this game, once again, in the afternoon, Knack versus Irving. 9 across the board as a total. Heavy favorite towards the Dodgers, which is going to be on a day-to-day occurrence, no question. Let's see what we have here. Knack last year, not very good. High ISO, average weighted on base percentage against. Decent K pitcher. This year, first start, first batters he's going to face. So it's hard to sort of get a gauge on what we think is going to happen. C.J. Adams, Keibert Ruiz, Nate Lowe, all good numbers. By the way, James Wood was popping yesterday. We'll go up against another right-handed pitcher today, see if he can do some damage. We'll find out. The Dodgers batters always look good. Jake Irvin is not a good pitcher. So the alt team total for this game, we're definitely going to go on the Dodgers. I'm just writing this game down as we speak. Alt team total, Dodgers. And we might even go with the 1.5. You know what? We'll probably just go 1.5 and go first 5 alt as well here. I think that makes sense. Dodgers should bounce back. And by the way, as I told you, last year, Irvin, right-handed pitcher, struggled against lefties. This year, doing the same thing. Shohei Ohtani's a lefty. He's going to be on my card. Michael Conforto also who let me down in that final bat of the game. He's got great numbers. He'll be on that chart as well. 53 degrees in Washington today, a little bit warmer than yesterday, and also wind blowing out at 5 miles per hour. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. So lefties is what we're looking for. So Ohtani, Conforto, Edman, Muncy. So let me write those down here. We'll go Shohei. And the number 2 is Conforto. And the number 3 that's Edman. And the number 4 in that lineup is going to be Muncy. So some options there. Do we have to take all 4? No, we don't. We have time to decide on this as well. This game is not going to start until 4 o'clock. But there's a couple plays that I really like. So the card today is looking pretty good through these 4 o'clock games. The last 4 o'clock game on the card, Houston and Seattle. Hunter Brown was great last year. Been very good this year overall. Low xFIP of 2.17 through 12 innings pitched. And also not a great hitting environment. 57 degrees might sound balmy, but again, you're playing in Seattle. Houston's lineup outside of Jose Altuve, not a lot to love. And Luis F. Castillo is on the mound, who is not, by the way, the Luis Castillo that you are used to. 2 guys with the name of Luis Castillo, which is kind of crazy. Left-handers are getting the best of them. I'm going to lay off of that game. So we have no action there. All right. So the afternoon card is pretty much set. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more games tonight. We'll try to speed through to see if I find anything. But this afternoon card, guys, we're going to have action today. And that's fantastic. That's the goal. And good action. Well, we're going to make the right lineup choices here in just a few moments. It's Moneyline on a Wednesday, right here on the Sports Grid Network.
Get the Sports Grid mobile app and you'll never be alone. Take the latest episodes of your favorite shows with you anywhere. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime, on the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
Football full circle.
No, that Penn State 8-1 price on the Nittany Lion because of all they return on both sides of the football. Will you be on the Penn State hype train entering 2025?
If you believe in Penn State and you think this is their year, I would not take a shot on the 8-1 price national championship. I'd rather book them at plus 340 to win the Big Ten.
It's football full circle with Ben Stevens and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the Sports Grid Radio Network.
You've searched, and now you found it. A mostly peaceful oasis in the sports talk desert, where one multi-platform giant shines like a lighthouse on the calm ocean. Nice metaphor. That network is Sports Grid. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
By the way, guys, if you are playing on 265, 50% odds boost on a game today you can use. Fantastic. Now we really got to hone our skills. Because there's a lot of action that I really like today, and I think we can get down on. That's fantastic. 50% boost. How can we use that to our advantage? I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to cash in a nice couple tickets today. But as we were talking about the night card here, I do want to speed through just to do a quick glance. Chicago White Sox, Cleveland Guardians at 6:10. Cold temperatures, 43 degrees, wind blowing in slightly. Burke is on the mound. Last year, only 76 batters faced. This year, has done well against lefties, not against righties. It's going to see a lot of lefties. Kwan, Ramirez, Santana, Manzardo, Jones. I mean, they got a lot of lefties in that lineup. Same thing they do every year. I do like that, by the way. Versatility for that team, absolutely fantastic. But not going to go with that side. Chicago White Sox, Logan Allen's on the mound, who's bad this year and bad last year. The only problem is you have a bad team that he's going up against. Vargas, Robert, and Slater opening that lineup should be decent, but that's a game that's off the card. It's a shame, too. We can absolutely do some dominant action right there in that game. Toronto and Boston. Gausman's going to be on the mound going up against Tanner Houck. If you look at Gausman last year, good season. This year, struggling a little bit lefties. You're going to get a couple good lefties there, but it's one where you probably should be involved in because the numbers make sense for Boston. But I don't know if I just want to dip in this early in the season with a veteran pitcher. Houck on the other side, sensational last year, roughed up by lefties this year. Maybe something we might be able to find there. Yusei Kikuchi, great last year, struggling a little bit with righties this year. Bad Rays lineup going up against them, so no action there. Pepio on the other side, average this year, decent year last year. Oh, wait, look at Trouty up there. Trouty, Soler, and O'Hoppe with good numbers in the middle of that lineup. Does it excite me a ton? Not necessarily. Atlanta Braves coming out of their funk on offense, scoring a lot of runs yesterday against Zach Wheeler. Taijuan Walker was brutal last year. Great start to start the season. Can he back it up? Or are you just going to go blindly again with the Atlanta Bats because they don't have a lot of good numbers? Grant Holmes was decent last year, roughed up in his first outing this year. 62 degrees down in Atlanta. That Phillies lineup looks really good. So that game, by the way, I am going to put as part of the alt team total. Phillies, Braves, alt first 5. That'll be in there. Okay. So we have a couple games listed for that. I'll go over the lineups once they have those out later. Kansas City Royals and the Minnesota Twins. Joe Ryan, good last year, struggling a little bit with righties this year. Kansas City Royals lineup doesn't project all that well today. Seth Lugo on the mound, who was fantastic last year, struggling a little bit lefties. That game's not going to be on my card tonight. Final game of the night, it's Milwaukee and Colorado. 67 degrees out in Denver. Wind blowing in around 8 to 9 miles per hour. Shouldn't be all that effective for the game. Alexander last year was bad. This year, 34 batters. He's been spotless, looking good. Milwaukee going up against Senzatella, who was terrible last year. What's Senzatella's xFIP this year? Let's see what he's coming in at, because I think he was really good against the Philadelphia Phillies in one game. He's got a 0 ERA, by the way, 4.73 xFIP. He's due to get cracked, but is that the lineup that can do some cracking? I don't know. So the night games, not all that advantageous for me, outside of maybe taking a guesstimate on the Philadelphia Phillies and the Atlanta Braves, and maybe something with that Toronto-Boston game. So for the alts in the first 5, we're definitely going Arizona. San Francisco and Cincinnati. Looks like one's listed there. So 4. I think I have 4 options for that, which I'm tracking. Again, I'm not going to put that out. Bet a certain amount of those probably see what happens, but I'm excited. Sean B's in the chat box as well. Yeah, 365. I love that, man. They bust you up to 50%. That's great. Like FanDuel, other books, 25% 30 is nice. 50% is fantastic. We're going to use that to our advantage today, no doubt about it. Now, we're coming up on the noon hour right now. We have about a half hour until the first wave of games starts, which is Pittsburgh and St. Louis. So Pittsburgh, nothing really there. I think I'm going to go St. Louis and a Pete Alonso in that first game matched up. Then we'll take a look at that A's game, which is coming up at 3:35. Will be our next action there. And then we'll roll it into probably my favorite game of the day is Baltimore and Arizona at 3:40. San Francisco and Cincinnati, that's also a 3:45 start around noon out west. I think that 1.5 alt line makes a lot of sense in that game too. And then, of course, the Dodgers game will be involved in. I like 4 batters in the Dodgers game, and they'll be a part of that alt team total and alt first 5 I'm going to put in. And then the Philadelphia Phillies with that alt first 5 at 1.5. So we got action today. This is going to be a good day. And I'm hoping to go 2-0 in my newfound fun alt on the first 5. How serious we get on those, we'll know by Sunday. Let's cash in tickets today. The good vibes and the good bounces go our way today. No doubt about it. Thanks for tuning in on a Wednesday. For JP behind the wheels of steel, I'm Donnie Rightside. See you tomorrow. Moneyline again.
Ask any woman and she'll tell you all men are afraid of commitment. Clearly, she's never met a Sports Grid listener.
My staff who's been together for 3 years, has worked incredibly hard to help get our players to this point. And our players, they've been the difference all the way along. Been incredibly consistent all year.
On the other side, Houston head coach Kelvin Sampson told his team to be proud of what they accomplished.
I told our guys after the game to be disappointed you lost, but do not be disappointed in your effort. Defending Florida is difficult. They got a really, really good team.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive.
That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More, the place to go for sipping rosés with seltzers on ice, making margaritas with your favorite tequilas. It's warm out, let's go. Our prices are low on spirits, beer, and wine. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21. One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved. Who let the dogs out? Spruce. It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
How many Sports Grid listeners does it take to change a light bulb?
It takes 2.
One to change the light bulb, and one to see if our mobile app can provide the same amount of light. Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
And welcome in. It is Football Full Circle on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon. Scott Wetzel, George Kurtz over the next 60 minutes talking NFL. How about that? It's a beautiful thing. Not a whole lot going on, George, which makes today a pretty good day to just kind of go back and see what happened with each team, or at least many of the teams anyway, in the free agency. Do have small little news as your boy Trey Lance signed with the LA Chargers. I know as a Dallas Cowboy fan, you got to be disappointed about that. But how you doing this afternoon? And are you getting over the Dallas Cowboy news?
It's, I shed a tear, Scott. Shed a tear for Trey Lance here. The truth is he should have been given more of a shot last year. The season was over once Dak went. It was probably over anyway. But once Dak went down, it was over. If they really truly wanted to find out about Lance, he should have been given more than just one start. All right, but maybe that tells you what they thought, that he wasn't ready to start anyway, that he wasn't, he's not starting NFL quarterback. Could be that as well here. So, listen, am I going to miss Trey Lance? No. Listen, Shanahan couldn't fix him. He couldn't get in on Dallas when Dak went down. He just might be a major bust, all right? Just might be a major bust here. The most important thing, though, we got 15 days and about 8 hours until, Tennessee will be on the clock and take Cam Ward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not tired of the draft talk just yet, but flipping the channels and then reading all the stories and all the draft nicks and all the proposed trades, and there's a couple of fallacies about trying to figure out who's going to be drafted in the first round, George. The major number one thing is logically, okay, teams need certain players. You don't have to be a genius to figure out who needs what, right? But I think most people think, okay, they're going to address those needs in the first round with their first overall pick, when in reality, all right, we need offensive linemen, but that doesn't mean we're going to take an offensive lineman in the first round. We could take them in the second, third, or fourth round. I mean, people tend to forget there's more than one round. So do I think any of these insiders have insights to any of these football teams and they're proposing trades? And no, I don't. They're just using logic. That's all. Sometimes they hit a home run, but for the most part, after the first pick, no one knows what the Cleveland Browns are doing. All these insiders are all basing their mock drafts on basically Cam Ward going number one. Everything else after that is just a crapshoot.
Oh, I agree. And let's face it, everybody's lying right now. No one's telling the truth. So, come on now. It's a thing I love to say here. When can you tell a general manager is lying? When his lips move, all right? And that's so true right now. They're not going to tell you, I'm going to take Trout. I'm going to take Hunter too. I'm going to take Hunter. No, because they're going to lie about that. Because you know what they're hoping for? That someone, I don't know, the Raiders are going to go, well, they're going to give you 14 number ones to move up to get that pick here, right? And, you have a promo that I've heard a million times in this thing, right? About would you give up 5 number ones for Jaden Daniels, first franchise quarterback? And you know what? Of course you would if you knew that guy was the guy. And, maybe there is someone who believes that Shedeur Sanders is the guy. He is the guy. And I have to move from 11. I'm just picking the number 11, by the way. I don't even know who San Fran picks 11, so probably not them. But I have to move from 11 to 2 to get him. And it's worth giving up 4 number ones. All right? And that can very well be true. And, hey, go for it if you're sure, because you can't win this league not consistently without that quarterback. So, yeah, everyone's guessing here. Everyone's lying. It is what makes the draft night fun. All right? Right now, I think for the first time, it's been a while. I don't remember the exact amount of years. Everybody still has their first-round pick. The first round is the first round. There have been no trades yet. Do I think that changes? Maybe not before the draft, but I think it will change during the draft.
That's right. I didn't think about that. But every team has their own first-round pick so far this year. Interesting. No previous trades. Obviously, no trades this offseason, but no previous trades where I got yours because you moved up last year or anything along those lines. That is interesting. So, yeah, it's just weird how people expect this to happen and that to happen. I wouldn't be surprised because it's the NFL. But if Sanders doesn't go to the Cleveland Browns and then get passed over by the New York Giants, as some guys think would actually happen, and then maybe fall all the way down to the Saints at 9 or one of those slots, I don't understand that. I really don't. The Browns, I was telling Lacey this yesterday, George, that the Browns got to get out of that stench of Deshaun Watson. He's still going to be on the team apparently, but you have to move off him. And grabbing an offensive lineman or a wide receiver, a defensive back, or even some good defensive player to match up with Myles Garrett, I know it all makes sense on paper, but the stench of Deshaun Watson is still there. Picking Shedeur Sanders, whether he's a bust or not, at least moves you away from that other stench. The Giants, same thing. If he should fall into their laps, I don't care if every scout from the Giants says, this guy's got a stink. Don't take him. I'm taking them anyway. Why? Because I got to get rid of the stench of Danny Nichols and that colossal mistake and beating the Indianapolis Colts in the second to last week of the regular season, which cost us a chance for Cam Ward. I got to move on from that. And the only way you do that is by taking Sanders, not by taking Travis Hunter or any other player.
I think there's a couple of things else in play here. I do think Deshaun Watson is done in Cleveland, especially after what the owner said, a week ago? Oh, right. Yeah, we. He didn't say him. We made a mistake. No, you made a mistake.
He threw his wife under the bus. His was his wife. I mean, talk about throwing your wife under the bus.
No one was taking Deshaun Watson on unless they had your permission, big-time permission to do this, all right? That was idiotic, but okay. But, all right, so I don't think Deshaun Watson plays again. Right now, I'm looking at the roster. They only have one quarterback on their roster right now. It's Kenny Pickett. Yeah. If you're not taking Shedeur Sanders, I mean, and listen, if everybody in my organization tells me that Shedeur Sanders is not a franchise quarterback, all right, then I can't take him. But there's somebody else whether it be the, Saints at 9 or whoever who do believe, then you got to trade down. Get extra picks then, right? You have to get extra picks. Listen, I think Abdul-Jabbar is going to be a great player. I do. And if you pair him with Myles Garrett, that would be fantastic. But you got Kenny Pickett at quarterback. I think Travis Hunter could be a great two-way player. But you know what? You got Kenny Pickett at quarterback. What are you doing here? So that's why you can't win this league without it. The Giants, by the way, are a completely different story here. Because if they take Sanders, Scott, how many games are they winning this year? 6? Maybe 7? Gable and Trent are gone. They're gone. Now, don't get me wrong.
I don't know.
Wilson and Winston, they're gone anyway.
Well, I see. I think if they win, 5, 6, 7 games with Sanders and he shows a little something, they come back. They win 5, 6, 7 games as they're supposed to with, pick either Winston or Russell Wilson. They're definitely fired. So that's why, people say, well, they brought in these veterans because they want to keep their job. To me, it's like, no, you have to win 10 games. You have to get to the playoffs to keep your job with Russell Wilson as your quarterback. You could win 5, 6, 7 games, show some promise with Sanders, and I think keep your job a lot easier. So that's another reason why I would draft Sanders. I would just tell ownership, well, listen, we can't expect Sanders to start right away, so we had to sign some veteran players. let the veteran players, the Russell Wilsons, go 1-4, 2-4. Now we're going to bring in Sanders. He'll win a couple of games, and we're on our way rolling because you don't want to change head coaches with a new quarterback. I think that's the perfect storm for them to draft Sanders. I really do.
I think, listen, if they were going to draft Sanders, or by the way, at this point when this could have happened, really in January, Ward or a first-round quarterback, Dable and Shen should have been fired. You should have started with a new coach, new GM, and let them make the choice on, do you want Sanders, do you want Ward, whatever the 1-2 was back then, and go from there so they can start fresh. All right, because now I think what's going to happen is, no matter whether they draft Sanders or Wilson, they're going to win around 4 or 5 games. I don't think it matters if Sanders, Wilson, or this is not a good team. All right, you're going to win about that many games. You're going to fire these guys. You're going to start from scratch next year anyway, no matter who you have there. Because if you win 5 games with Sanders, if you win 7 or 8 with Sanders, I think your philosophy is probably right. They probably survive. But if you win 5 or less, the fans are going to be calling for blood here. They want that blood anyway, and you didn't give it to them. Right? They kept these guys, and they're going to go through it again here. I think the Giants made a mistake here. I think they should have. Moved on when they had the chance here and let a new regime decide what they want to do in the first round. Do you want Sanders? Do you want Dart? Do you want Milroe, Shaw, whoever it might be?
Yeah. I would have fired him, honestly, the moment they beat the Indianapolis Colts. I would have said, you bozos won a football game. Are you nuts at this point of the season? So we'll talk about the Giants, all the other teams, some of their offseason moves. Check out their over-unders, all coming up. Football Full Circle on the Grid.
4 out of 5 scientists agree it's smarter to be on Sports Grid. And we're pretty sure that one scientist is still a virgin. He just gives that vibe. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
With the Sports Grid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. A Tennessee man has been sentenced to 76 years in prison for killing 2 men and wounding a third at a shooting at a high school basketball game more than 3 years ago. 21-year-old Jaden Hardiman was sentenced Monday after he was convicted in November of charges including second-degree murder. The shooting took place at a basketball game between Humboldt and Northside High Schools on November 30th, 2021. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is running for the U.S. Senate in a primary challenge against Republican Senator John Cornyn. Paxton made the announcement on Tuesday after spending more than a year openly flirting with the Senate challenge. The University System of Georgia announced it is consolidating East Georgia State College and Georgia Southern University. The Board of Regents will vote on the plan to close the school next week, which arose after years of declining enrollment at East Georgia State. I'm Trey Westerberg with the Sports Grid News Flash.
Something amazing is happening. Despite a citywide blackout, this company is still up and running. That's because CDW deployed and managed a cost-effective Eaton Triplite Series Smart Pro UPS to safeguard equipment easily and reliably. Keep the power on and protect your IT equipment from electrical challenges. Triplite by Eaton and CDW. Make amazing happen. Find out more at cdw.com/triplite.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
A little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's something you should know and always remember.
Sports Grid does not increase luck. We're your unfair advantage for the latest sports gaming information. If you're looking for luck, go find a horseshoe. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
All right, welcome back. It is Football Full Circle on this Wednesday. Scott Wetzel, George Kurtz for the next 50 minutes or so. Talking a little NFL. It is hence Football Full Circle. So good day, George. Just to kind of go back on how things have gone so far for some teams. Check out their over-unders, their Super Bowl odds as well. We were talking Giants, so why not start there? All right, so they enter the offseason. They obviously get rid of Danny Nichols, as I like to call them. They signed Jameis Winston. Then they find that Russell Wilson's available. They sign him as well. They're sitting in the number 3 spot, as we talked about. Do they add on Shedeur Sanders if he's there? Do they add on, wide receiver? Now you have a great 1-2 punch. And in the over-under for them is 5.5. Plus 135 on the over. Super Bowl odds, forget about it. It's 200 to 1. So that's silly to talk about. But listen, they're going to be bad, but are they going to be that bad? I mean, let's just say it is Russell Wilson. I mean, he's not awful, right? He took Pittsburgh to the postseason last year. He should be able to win a few games, right? 5.5. Can they not get 5.5, 6 wins? In that division, it's tough. Obviously, real good division, but man, 6 and 11. They can't go 6 and 11.
All right, New York Giants. Now, we know that team, as currently constituted, it's okay at best. All right, Wilson can win you some games. You got Neighbors. He's great. Tracy, serviceable running back. You don't really have a tight end here, and your defense is question marks other than a defensive line. While we don't know the order, we know who they're playing. Where are they going to go in the division, Scott? 1-5, 2-4 at best.
At best.
You're not. 2-4. All right. You play Chicago? No. Denver, these are by the way, you're at Chicago, at Denver, at Detroit, at the Raiders. I guess you could beat the Raiders. At the Patriots, you could beat the Patriots. At the Saints, okay, those are winnable games here. Home, you got Green Bay, Minnesota, Kansas City, Chargers, San Francisco. I'm not betting over. I'm not betting the over.
Yeah.
Either it's the under or I'm leaving it alone.
I mean, it's so easy to say, okay, they can get 6. Then when you start breaking it down, it's like they're not winning any of those road games, right? I mean, the Raiders, maybe the one. So they have it the wrong
Patriots.
way.
Patriots.
Patriots.
Beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
Saints, okay, maybe the Saints, but you're not going to beat all 3. You're not beating all 3 on the road. And what home games are you winning? Green Bay, Minnesota, Kansas City, Chargers, San Francisco, and your division. Wow. No. I'm under.
They have it in reverse, George. You're supposed to, if you want to have a good season, and this is really why, certain years you can be really good, then the next year you can be awful. It's all about scheduling. You have a last place schedule. You played a bunch of last place teams. Then all of a sudden you're in second place. You played a bunch of second place teams. It's a big difference. So you want to have the better teams on the road. Why? Because you're not going to win those games. You could play on the moon, and they're not beating Green Bay. They're not beating Detroit. They're not beating Minnesota, probably or even San Francisco, right? So you might as well have those games on the road. You want the winnable games at home. This way you actually do win those games versus playing the winnable games on the road, and you lose a few. So they don't have that schedule. They have it in reverse. They got all the winnable games on the road where you could lose against anybody, and all the games you're going to lose all at home, and you're looking at a 4-win season, 3-win season again.
Bye, Dable.
Yeah.
Bye, Shane.
Yeah. Bye, Shane. Yeah. See you later. The door hits you in the ass. And it's all gonna. I know. I keep on saying it, like every single show. I got to bring this up one time. It all comes down to beating the Colts in their second to last game, George. You don't win that. You lose against Philadelphia. You get the number 1 overall pick. You get Cam Ward, and your future is completely different. I just don't understand why ownership didn't go down to the GM, Shane, and say, listen, you guys are coming back. So do the right thing. We're sitting in the number 1 spot. We control our own destiny. You can't say lose because the Dolphins got in trouble for that. But you make it known. Do the right thing. Tell the coach he's coming back as well. Do the right thing. And instead they win this dopey, meaningless game, and it's going to cost them their jobs. It's nuts.
I agree. And I think, Scott, you and I talked about this before. You can't say lose, but you can call a run play when you should call a pass play. You can call plays where aren't going to work against that defense. That sort of thing here. The players are always going to play to win. So there are weird things that can happen here, but there are things you can do to help losing along the road here. Tanking is legitimate. It happens in every sport. They're all doing it here. The Giants definitely screwed up by winning that last game.
Yeah.
Or second last game.
We'll keep it in New Jersey. Jets 5.5. Release Aaron Rodgers. Bring in Aaron Glenn. Whole new regime. Kick everybody out. GM gone. Head coach out. Quarterback out. 200-1 to win it all. They bring in Justin Fields. I'm not a big Justin Fields guy. I don't know if they're going to get to 6 wins. I mean, it's hard not getting 6 wins. 5-12 is like really, really bad. But I'm not a big fan. I think the Giants have a better chance of 6 wins, even with that schedule, than the Jets.
See, I'm the reverse. I think the Jets have a shot because their division's not all that great. They can beat Miami once. They can beat New England twice. All right, I don't think they will, mind you, but they can. So I can give them 2 wins and feel pretty good about it. They play Cleveland. That could be a win. They play Pittsburgh. That can be a win. I don't think Pittsburgh's all that great. Atlanta, Carolina. I think the Jets are getting this. This is what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
Denver, Dallas. Those are all the home games, by the way. The away ones are Baltimore, Cincinnati. Saints are away. Tampa's away. Jacksonville. I think they get this, Scott. I'm not saying they're a playoff team, but I think they can get the 6-7 wins. All right.
Yeah.
I have my worries about Fields. I do, but I think he deserves a shot. And I think the problem with someone like Fields is so many teams, they don't design their offense around him. You need to design your offense around. He's not a 3, 5, 7-step drop guy. You need to design your offense for a mobile quarterback who can move that pocket. That's what you need to do for him. All right, he does have some. He knows Garrett Wilson. I think that'll help. Got a good running game here. That pick at number 7 overall has to be an offensive lineman. They have to protect him and give him some time.
Yeah, they swung and missed on offensive linemen, though. You look at the roster, and it's nothing but first and second round picks on that offensive line already. It's like, what are we doing? So with that schedule, it is juice minus 145. But yeah, I tend to agree with you now that I look at their schedule. Over 5.5, even at minus 145. You got to be pretty bad. Like I said, I don't think they'll be that bad with that schedule. So, all right, football full circle. We'll look at some of the other teams when we come back. Scott and George here on the grid.
There's smart
and there's not smart.
Not smart is hope as a strategy. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Keep it here
And win. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1981, Fernando Valenzuela wins his first start for the Dodgers and went on to win a Cy Young and was named Rookie of the Year that season. As Fernando mania spread across America, the rookie won a critical Game 3 over the Yankees in the series.
Crowd standing now as one, exhorting the rookie on.
For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike Demergis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
New University of Ottawa research says if you're a member of the Polar Bear Club and like to take a dip in the ocean during sub-zero weather, you might actually be extending your life. This study finds acclimating your body to repeated exposure to immersion in cold water for an hour over 7 days supercharges cellular resistance, the body's natural mechanisms cleaning out damaged tissue. If you want to try this for yourself and you're not quite ready to jump into the Arctic Ocean, maybe just try a cold shower. Follow me at G. Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
When he did it, I got choked up. I respect him so much as an enemy of my team. I hated the Islanders, but I respected Mike Bossy so much. And I respect this guy so much that I got all flustered. And my daughter was like, "Are you crying?" I was like, "Get out! Get out of the room!"
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge. The Sports Grid Radio Network. Wherever you go,
there you are.
Download the Sports Grid mobile app and we'll be right there with you.
So now you can get the winning edge
anywhere. Even while the wife's talking to you.
if you've got an earbud.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
All right, welcome back to Full Circle here on the grid. George, for the next 55 minutes or 35 minutes or so, just checking out some of the NFL scenes from this offseason so far. Obviously, still a lot to go. Got a few more free agents that are still out there. Obviously, the draft in a week and a half. So just kind of doing a mid off-season recap, if you will. So we left off with the Jets and Giants. How about Seattle, George? 7.5. Little juice, minus 135 to the over, 70-1. Their offseason consists of getting Geno Smith and trading him to the Las Vegas Raiders, so they're done living in purgatory with him. They signed Sam Darnold off the terrific year he had last year with the Minnesota Vikings. They signed Cooper Kupp. In that division, with the Rams, I think will probably be the best of the four teams. Then San Fran, and then probably Seattle and Arizona fighting from the rears. But ultimately, it's Sam Darnold. Do you believe in what Sam Darnold did last year? Is that because he was with the Minnesota Vikings? He's indoors. He's got great weapons, great coaching staff. Is that going to translate into Seattle? That's obviously the ultimate question. Boys in Vegas really don't think so, right? If they're giving you 7.5, that's 8 and 9. That's still a losing record. I think Seattle should get to 8 wins. I'm not in favor of laying the minus 135, the juice, but it's you bet the same amount, you win a little bit less if you really think Seattle's going to get it done.
Yeah, without looking into it, I kind of lean the over as well here. But you're right; it's all about Darnold. I mean, that's what throws this thing into kind of a haywire. Do we think Donald's that guy? He trailed off at the end, cost himself probably a lot of money here, maybe a better situation. I do think Stefanski did very. I'm sorry, not Stefanski. Did very well with him. So new coaching staff. I don't know. You don't have what's his name anymore, Jefferson, right? You don't have JJ. Not that there's anything wrong with JSN. Smith-Njigba is a good wide receiver, but he's not JJ. All right. Your run game is good. Your offensive line is putrid. I mean, it's bad. All right, maybe the worst in the NFL here. You think the Jets' offensive line is bad? This one's bad too. They have the 18th pick. All right, I think they're gonna lean. Oh well, there's someone there they can take there. Your tight end, you don't have. Your defense is solid. Maybe it's above solid actually. So I think this is a decent team. When you look at their schedule here, all right, you get the NFC West, good division, no truly bad teams here. You also have to play Houston, tough. These are at home, by the way. Indianapolis, Saints, Tampa, Minnesota. Okay, yeah, it's not easy. It's not terrible, but it's not easy. On the road, Atlanta, Carolina, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Washington, Pittsburgh. It's a solid schedule. You're not really getting crushed, but you're not facing a whole bunch of patsies either here. So I lean over here. I think I do have my doubts about Darnold, Scott. I am not completely sold in a new coaching staff, new team that he'll be able to do it again. I think a lot of what he accomplished was due to the scripting by Minnesota and their offensive staff there. So I do have my doubts, but I would lean over, but I would not bet it.
Yeah. Same here. They lose their two best wide receivers. They bring in Cooper Kupp. I'm not sure how much is really left there. The one thing about the NFC West is, I was looking at this a little bit yesterday, they have, the perfect storm in that they have the NFC South and the AFC South. And if you were going to pick divisions, those are probably two of the easiest divisions you could come up with. And they have both of them. So I would lean towards overs for all the NFC West teams just because of that. It's a lot of winnable games. I'm not a believer in Sam Darnold either. I'm really not. Maybe he changed his career around after, failing with the Jets, failing with Carolina. Not that those were great teams, but I don't think Seattle's in the class of Minnesota. So he's going to have to make this team better than what it is. And I don't think he's capable of doing that. But still, boys in Vegas, they're not dumb, right? They make it where it's just like, okay, they're going to be bad, but are they going to be that bad? They can't get 8 wins. They're going to go 7-10 with that schedule. Speaking of the Raiders, all right, so they take the cast off. One man's trash is another man's treasure. They like Geno Smith so much, they trade for him, and they give him an extension. Does this have Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins written all over it? Forget about Watson's off the field stuff, but you trade for a guy, you bring him in, you give him a brand new ridiculous contract, and he's a bust. Same thing with Kirk Cousins. You bring him in, give him a new contract, and he's awful. Is that going to be the case for Geno Smith and the Las Vegas Raiders, who hire Pete Carroll as well, obviously?
I know we're up against the Raiders aren't awful, all right, and Geno's not awful, all right. Geno's a solid quarterback who makes weird decisions during games. That's always been my issue with him. Good quarterback, but makes bad decisions in critical times. That's always been the issue for me with Geno.
6.5 plus 110-1 to win the Super Bowl. I don't think they're getting there. All right, we'll take a look at some of the other teams, including Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Minnesota, all coming up right here on the grid.
The Winning Edge.
You've got it.
But not everybody has it, because not everybody listens to us.
But we're working on that.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. The Denver Nuggets have fired head coach Michael Malone. They also won't extend the contract of GM Calvin Booth. The decision to part ways with the staff that won a championship in 2023 comes at a time when the Nuggets have lost 4 straight and are in danger of falling into the play-in round. Nuggets owner Josh Kroenke and the timing of the firings.
With that thinking in our mind that we know that we're going to be changing these roles at the end of the season, then your mind then turns to, well, what is the best decision for this group right now? And, from that point forward, I think that, I became comfortable with the thinking of, let's try to shake this tree and squeeze as much out of this as we can. And that's where we arrived at with the decisions today.
The regular season wraps up this coming Sunday with the play-in round starting next Tuesday. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive.
That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Hey, fellow Gen Xers, it's Elizabeth Banks. Big news. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the charge. After all, we gave the world the internet. We're trailblazers. Let's lead the way again, because we are at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Head to vaxassist.com and schedule today. That's vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's business solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
You're listening to Sports Grid.
Spreading the winning edge far and wide.
Terrestrial, internet, TV, satellite, and don't forget our mobile app.
Face it.
The winning edge is everywhere.
Somewhere there's a squirrel frustrated he can't get a phone.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
And welcome back. It is Football Full Circle, halfway through right here on the grid. Scott and George talking a little NFL, some of the offseason moves some of these teams have made, checking out their season win totals, which obviously is all subject to change. But some of these are so good, which is why we bring it up now, that it's better to do it now versus the draft when these teams can help themselves. And the numbers generally will go up. Most people, I would think, I would say most people bet overs on these things like normal props versus unders, but there might be some unders that you like. So sometimes it is better to put it in now before the draft, which is a week and a half or so away. So Cleveland Browns, next up on our hit list here, George. 5.5. They signed Kenny Pickett. Deshaun Watson's not going to be available until midway through the season, maybe October or so. I can't believe all the buzz, is the Browns not taking Shedeur Sanders, even though he will be there. And then maybe taking a quarterback in the later rounds. But I just can't believe, knowing that Watson, and think what you want about him, but he's not available, that they're going to go into this season with Kenny Pickett as their starting quarterback in a division in which you have, Joey B with the Cincinnati Bengals and, Lamar Jackson with the Baltimore Ravens, and more than likely Aaron Rodgers with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're going to go after those 3 teams with Kenny Pickett? Really? You talk about just throwing this season away. If they don't take Sanders, I don't know what they're doing. I would go under 5.5 again. They still don't have any wide receivers. They still don't have any running backs. And whoever they take, if it's not Sanders, isn't going to help them that much in that division where they could easily go 1-5 in division games. It's not easy to get only 5 wins, but this would be a team I think I would go under with.
If for the most part in the draft, I'm a BPA guy. I take the best player available. But as you already brought up, and I mentioned earlier in the show, you don't have a quarterback. Pickett is a backup. All right, he's a backup. He's not a starter. All right, you're not going to be able to convince me he is a starter here. I understand BPA might be, Abdul Carter. And you pair him with Myles Garrett, you probably don't need a secondary because quarterbacks aren't going to have a lot of time to throw here. All right, so I understand that. Or maybe you want to go with Hunter, who's a wide receiver and a cornerback. Once again, very good player, maybe the best athlete in the draft here. Understand that. Great. But you don't have a quarterback. I'm a BPA guy except for quarterback. If you're not taking a quarterback at 2, I think you should trade down. All right, it's the first thing I do. Find a team that wants Sanders and will overpay. All right, get another extra number 1 or 3, whatever it might be, 1 and 3. Go for it with New Orleans or whoever. All right, fine. I'm okay with that. If you don't believe in Sanders, fine, trade down. I'm good with that. But what are you doing at quarterback? Are you going to try to trade back? Are you going to wait for 34 and hope Milrow falls to you, or Dart, or just someone slips? Are you going to trade back into the first round and give up assets? Once again, are you giving up next year's 1 or whatever it might be to go back to, I don't know, trade with Green Bay at 20, was it 23? Something. I just throw that out there. Is that what you're doing here? So I don't know. I don't like it either here. Their schedule, we know they play in the brutal AFC North here, so we know that's going to be a problem. All right, so that's an issue here. Your other games, what do you got here? Buffalo, Miami. So you're playing the AFC East, and you're playing the NFC North. Oh, my God. Minnesota, you're throwing in Tennessee here, San Fran. All right, you do get the Raiders and the Patriots. No, if they don't do something at quarterback, this is an under. I wouldn't bet it right now, mind you, because maybe they do. Maybe this is all a smoke screen, Scott. And in 15 days, they're taking Shedeur Sanders at 2. Maybe if they don't, this is an under for me.
Yeah, just doesn't make any sense for it to be a smoke screen, because if they really like him, then just say it, right? I mean, they don't have to worry about Tennessee.
Love Sanders. I'm taking Sanders. He's going to be great. Yeah, you play it up.
Right, you play it up. You don't play it down. You play it down is because you want to protect your interest, and no, we don't want anyone jumping ahead of us and grabbing us to it, right? So you just, you don't even bring his name up. But they control their own destiny, so they shouldn't have any concerns about that, which is why, some of this buzz about them not taking him comes to be true. And you get a personality, too. For better or worse, at least he's a personality. Again, it goes back to get a fresh air and get that just, the stench of Deshaun Watson just done. Move on from him. I don't. We'll see. We'll see. But I would be shocked if they went with Kenny Pickett. Right? Maybe they don't draft Sanders. Maybe they make a trade for Kirk Cousins with the Atlanta Falcons, who's just sitting there not being used. I would think that would be option better 2. Yeah, but at least it's something. At least you get a little bit of hope, and it reunites him and Stefanski when they were together in Minnesota. So, kind of a similar situation. Yeah, Pittsburgh. 8.5 plus 120 to the over, 44-1 to win it all. They let Russell Wilson go. They let Justin Fields go. They signed Mason Rudolph, who's no better than Kenny Pickett. They're waiting on Aaron Rodgers. If Rodgers says no, are they going to make a move for Kirk Cousins or trade up for Shedeur Sanders? I can't. I don't think Cleveland would ever make that trade. But if he falls to 3 or 4, especially 4 and 5. Because that's down New England and Jacksonville, who don't need quarterbacks. But same as with Pittsburgh for me, or with Cleveland, George. I can't believe that they would go into this season with Mason Rudolph as the starting quarterback. I just, there's no way. You can't. He's a backup. Nice little backup, but he's a backup at this point.
That Rudolph's not a starting quarterback. Okay, so, and they know that. They're being held hostage by Aaron Rodgers, which, by the way, is some of their own fault, too. You're allowing yourself to be held hostage by him. All right? Rodgers has no choice. If he wants to, as of right now, April 9th, if you want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, you have to sign with Pittsburgh. There's nobody else. Now, if you want to wait until training camp, sure, somebody could get hurt. Maybe the Vikings McCarthy sucks, and they go back to you. It's a possibility, but that's a major gamble here. The longer you wait, and by the way, Pittsburgh, if you make them wait past the draft, they may draft the quarterback. And now they don't want you because they know you're not going to be very good with a young quarterback. All right, and then I don't know if Rodgers will want to sign there because he knows that sooner or later that young quarterback has to play. So it's a lot of weird parts here at Pittsburgh here. So I do think Rodgers signs there before the draft. Because if it's after the draft, then they're at 21, so they're not. I don't think they're not going to go up and get Sanders, but they could move up to get Dart or Miller, whoever they believe in there, whoever they believe in there. But I think they do come out of the first round that Thursday night with a quarterback if they don't sign Rodgers. By the way, this all being said, I don't think it matters. No matter what, you're not better than Baltimore, and you're not better than Cincinnati. Although Cincinnati's going to be that fun team that plays a lot of 35, 31 games, especially if they don't re-sign Hendrickson or end up trading him at the draft. So Pittsburgh, I think it's going to be Rodgers here, and I think they'll go with BPA there. But we also heard there, I think it was the owner who mentioned sooner or later we have to address the long-term quarterback position, not just a year-by-year basis. Maybe, once again, they say, screw it. I've had it with Rodgers. I'm not dealing with them, and we'll take our shot on Milroe, Dart, whoever it might be.
Yeah. Either way, I still like the over 8.5. Again, because I'm gonna bet it now because I believe it's gonna be somebody outside of Mason Rudolph, and whether it's Aaron Rodgers or whether it's Sanders or whether it's Kirk Cousins, it's gonna be somebody. There's no way they're going into the season with Mason.
Their
Rudolph.
schedule is brutal, man. It's not easy either.
Is it? That's the NFC North or AFC North.
It's
So
it's the North, so that's always a problem. You got Detroit, Chargers, right? You do get the Patriots and Jets, fine. Buffalo, Miami, Green Bay, Minnesota, Indy, Seattle. Me, when I do one of these, got an over or I'm going to bet an under. I need to look. I go, okay, win. I do that, of course, and I see what my number comes up with. If I'm not too better or too worse than what the number has, I'm not doing it. And I think this one, I probably have the Steelers around. I think they have it right, around 8-9 wins, maybe 10. The only one I truly love so far that we've gone over is the Jets. I think the Jets will get. That's the one where I would have. I think I had 8 on there. Possible they can get to 8, and then it was 5.5. I'll take the over on the Jets.
Yeah. How about Atlanta? They're holding on to Kirk Cousins. Michael Penix Jr. is going to be the starting quarterback, I assume. What are they going to do with Kirk Cousins? That's the big question. We'll talk about it when we come back. Over under 7.5, minus 130 to the over, 60-1 Super Bowl odds. Can the Atlanta Falcons be this year's version of Washington last year, and then really Tennessee or Houston the year before that? Football full circle. Scott and George on the grid.
We're not saying every Sports Grid listener is a legend, but you might start thinking about who's going to play you in the movie. Just saying. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
With the Sports Grid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. The University System of Georgia announced it is consolidating East Georgia State College and Georgia Southern University. The Board of Regents will vote on the plan to close the school next week, which arose after years of declining enrollment at East Georgia State. A Tennessee man has been sentenced to 76 years in prison for killing 2 men and wounding a third at a shooting at a high school basketball game more than 3 years ago. 21-year-old Jaden Hardiman was sentenced Monday after he was convicted in November of charges including second-degree murder. The shooting took place at a basketball game between Humboldt and Northside High Schools on November 30th, 2021. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is running for the U.S. Senate in a primary challenge against Republican Senator John Cornyn. Paxton made the announcement on Tuesday after spending more than a year openly flirting with the Senate challenge. I'm Trey Westerberg with the Sports Grid News Flash.
Hey, fellow Gen Xers, it's Elizabeth Banks. Big news. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the charge. After all, we gave the world the internet. We're trailblazers. Let's lead the way again because we are at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Head to vaxassist.com and schedule today. That's vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to handle the busy holiday season, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Ask any player and they'll tell you any advantage is important.
That's where we come in.
Sports Grid delivers gaming strategies and analysis 7 days a week.
The winning edge.
It's your advantage to more winning
more often.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
And welcome back. It is Football Full Circle season win totals. Ah, yes. What better to talk about in the NFL as we approach the middle of April? Why not? Some of these you get some decent value. Like I said, there's a reason why you put them in now before the draft. Once the draft is in, I don't think the numbers will change that much. So if you like to gamble, hence what we do here, you take a little gamble that the team does the right thing. and you get a little bit better number now than you would have if you waited until this offseason. So left off, George, with the Atlanta Falcons. They're sitting there with Kirk Cousins. They've obviously moved, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but they seemingly have moved on in essence, handed the reign to Michael Penix Jr. last year. He did well enough where I think he's going to be the anointed starting starter. You're paying a guy $40 million. They just had a roster bonus. They just paid him, but he's sitting there. And the question is, do you want to hold on to him just in case things don't work out for Penix? And then, the other thing is, what could you get for him? If you were one of these teams that needed a quarterback, would you trade for a number one? Because I'm sure they're going to ask a number one, right? We start there. Would you trade a number one, but maybe realistically a number 2 or 3 for Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, no one's giving him a number one. I mean, Atlanta. All right, you found out that I think you do have your franchise quarterback in Penix, right? Or on his way, but you only found out because Cousins spit the bit, right? Pooped the bed, right. Whatever you want to call it there. So, and that cost you a playoff spot last year because he's played so poorly here. Maybe it was because of the Achilles and he needed time. Be better this year. But any chance of getting another one went bye-bye. Now it probably is at best a day 2 picks or a 2 or a 3, and it may not even be that. So you do have to wrestle with the question you just brought up. Do you want him as a backup to make sure you're okay? Or do you want, whatever you can get to reinforce your roster this season? That'll be a question for them. This should be a decent team. Penix, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Darnell Mooney had a really good year last year. Ray McLeod was good. Kyle Pitts, so it is what he is, not the play we thought he'd be. You need a pass rusher, big time, right? They need someone to go with the quarterback there. Can you get that at 15? I don't know. I don't know if they can there. That being said, you and I already mentioned you play in a really good division, as far as not too many good teams. So that helps there. You're also playing at home, the Rams, Hawks, Bills, Dolphins, Commanders. That's not fun. Not really too many teams that you can say are automatic wins there. On the road, Cardinals, Niners, Pats, Jets, Vikings, Colts, slightly better, there. What was the number that they were going at here?
7.5.
I think it's an over. An over, but it's not. Once again, it's not one I would bet. But in my head, I have 8 to 9 possibility here. I think they are if they can get that pass rusher and just stop those opposing quarterbacks from having all day to throw here. I think they'd have a shot here. I love their skill position players here, so I think they have a shot at the over.
Yeah. I mean, it's been that MO with the Atlanta Falcons for how many years, though, right? Skill positions all good. Quarterback, not so good. Whether it was the, aging quarterback, they bring in new guys. They don't work out. Kirk Cousins, do you think he's done? Let's say you're Pittsburgh, right? Things don't fall your way with Aaron Rodgers and the draft. And the Falcons say, guy, give me a 4th round pick, 4th or 5th round pick. Maybe you can make it a conditional, you go to the playoffs, you bump it up to a 3, we'll say. Would you have faith in Kirk Cousins if you were Pittsburgh or any other team? But, Pittsburgh is in dire need of a quarterback.
Would I have faith? No. Would I make the deal you proposed? Yes. All right, 2 different things here, but because no matter he's better, right? He has to be better than what I have now. Has to be. He's better than Rudolph, right? He is. So, yeah. But I do worry about Kirk Cousins. Remember, for the most part of his career, since leaving Washington, Minnesota, now Atlanta, he was indoors. Now you're going outdoors. Pittsburgh. Right. November, December, January, that's cold. You're playing in Cleveland, Cincinnati. Right? That's not fun. Not fun. So I would have my doubts. But on the parameters you mentioned, a 5th to a 4th, I can certainly live with that. It's worth the shot because you're not doing anything with Mason Rudolph. And once again, maybe you're still drafting a quarterback at 21. And Kirk Cousins might be a good guy. I think he would be a guy you could mentor. He would mentor someone behind him. So that could be helpful as well. And the bottom line is this, under your parameters, you're not giving up a whole lot. You're not giving up a 2. A 3 would be only if you make the playoffs or something like that. And if you make the playoffs, hey, I don't mind giving up a 3 next year.
Yeah. Minnesota, 8.5, minus 135 to the over, 27-1 to win it all. They let Sam Darnold walk. So they make the commitment to J.J. McCarthy. They could have signed Darnold and traded McCarthy and maybe got a number 1 for him, right? I mean, he was first-round pick, was hurt, but there's got to be other GMs that liked him enough that they would maybe give up a number 1 for him. So not only does McCarthy have to be good, but he's got to be good to the point of as good as Sam Darnold plus, because they could have kept Sam Darnold and traded him away and gotten, like I said, a number 1 for him. So 8.5. Boys in Vegas don't have any faith in McCarthy. I don't know if I do either, to tell you the truth.
I don't know if they would have gotten another one from McCarthy. He was drafted higher than what most of us thought here. Yeah, he won the championship, fine. But there were some doubts about him. So do I think they made the right choice? Yeah, not that I know for sure that McCarthy is better than Darnold, but you would have taken the chance on McDonald, who didn't play well when it mattered at the end here, and you would have to pay him a lot of money. Actually, I think he probably gets more than $33 million a year with Minnesota, maybe not 40, 42. So you get to save that. At least you got the rookie contract with McCarthy. You see what's going on here. I mean, Aaron Jones, they did trade with Jordan Mason, so I like the running back room there. We love the wide receivers, J.J. Addison, Hawkinson. Listen, they should be able to score points if McCarthy is average. Just being average here. The defense is solid here. A schedule we know is going to be a problem, all right, because you're playing your own division. Everybody's good in your division. Chicago's vastly improving here, so that's going to be an issue. On the road, all right, you're playing at the Cowboys. It shouldn't be a great team. At Cleveland, shouldn't be all that worrisome here. At Chargers, okay, that's tough. Home besides your division, Eagles, Commanders, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Atlanta. You're also playing Pittsburgh, Seattle Giants on the road. So I'm leaving this one alone, Scotty. I don't know about McCarthy. That schedule's not fun. I kind of lean this could be a problem here in Minnesota.
Yeah. I think they're going to be. You just wonder. I'm sure it was asked, but not being a Viking fan, I don't read every single article on Minnesota. So I'm sure it was asked. Did Darnold's last couple of games have any impact in your decision to get rid of him, in essence? I can't help but think if they won a playoff game or two and he did great, that they would have brought him back. But he didn't, and they let him walk. So a couple more teams before we close up shop. Football Full Circle here on the Grid.
Is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the tickets. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. Sports Grid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on Sports Grid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. Sports Grid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi. Then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
Think of us as your cool roommate that has this innate gift of somehow always picking winners and never bugs you about doing the dishes or paying rent. Sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
Get the winning edge.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
It is Football Full Circle here on the Grid. Scott and George Kurtz. So running down some of the NFL teams, some of their offseason moves, looking at their over-unders and Super Bowl odds, trying to get a jump on things. Left off talking a little NFC North. How about the Chicago Bears? 8.5 is their win total, plus 110 to the over. 34-1 odds to win it all. They hire Ben Johnson away from Detroit as the new head coach. How's that going to work out with Caleb Williams? He showed you a little something last year, overshadowed obviously by all the success Jaden Daniels had, and then obviously it's C.J. Stroud the year before with the Houston Texans. So some people could say he was a disappointment, but in reality, he was a rookie quarterback. Not everyone can be and have the success that those two other quarterbacks had. So he certainly showed enough that, okay, he's our guy. Let's bring in Ben Johnson, the latest quarterback guru who's working their miracles here, even though I think it's a little fluky with what happened in Detroit. But that said, 8.5, tough division, right? Every game winnable, every game losable. So I don't know if I'm ready to anoint them as a winning football team at 9-8, especially knowing the NFC has one less home game this year.
I think that's all fair. I love the moves that the Bears have done this offseason. I think the Bears are being very smart here. You're building around your franchise quarterback. You're trying to protect him. Give him that extra half a second to throw the football, right? Process those defensive alignments there. So I love what they've done here. You pick 10th overall, so you can still help them here, right? Do you want to take the running back? If the Raiders don't take Gentry, I think the Raiders don't take Gentry, they take Gentry. But if the Raiders do take Gentry, I don't think they'll go wide receiver, but maybe take Tyler Warren, right? And Cole Kmet's a solid tight end, but he's not Tyler Warren. All right, so a lot of you could take another. You want to take another offensive lineman? You can never have enough, by the way. They can go that direction here. So I think they're going to add to helping Caleb at 10 here. That being said, yeah, to get the 10 is going to be 9. It's going to be an issue. You said, are they a winning team? You play in a rough division here. Their schedule. You're playing Baltimore. Okay, that's at Baltimore, by the way. You're playing Dallas, Giants, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Kind of like that run there. Saints. You do play Cincinnati. Raiders are on here. Philadelphia, San Fran, Washington. I kind of lean that they're going to get there. I wouldn't bet the under. How about that? I'm definitely not betting the under. I think with this schedule and the improvements they've made, it's going to be on Caleb. Can he take that next step? I think he'll play better than last year because he almost has to. He was running for his life. I mean, if there was ever a team that it was hike and then run because it's a jailbreak, it was Chicago. Right? Their offensive line was putrid as well here. So, I lean. I'm not betting it once again. I kind of lean the over here, Scott. I think they are going to make that kind of improvement. Not quite playoffs yet, but I don't think they're going to be a pushover anymore. I think they're heading in the right direction.
All right. I'm not sure where the New Orleans Saints are going. 6.5 is their total. They hire Kellen Moore as their head coach. They bring back Derek Carr. He looks like he's going to be the starting quarterback. He got injured really for the first time in his career last year, but he's 34 years old. He's been in the league a long time, 11 years. I don't see 160-1 to win the Super Bowl. I've been on the Derek Carr Saints bandwagon the last couple of seasons and no more. I'm really surprised that it looks like he's going to be the starting quarterback again because you talk about a franchise that needs a new face. And they got it a little bit with Kellen Moore, but I thought for sure maybe Sanders drops to them at 9. Maybe they move up if it gets past the first couple of teams. But it looks like it's going to be Derek Carr again this year for the Saints.
Yep. All the smoke is on Sanders going to the Saints right now, right? That's all the smoke right now, that if he gets past Cleveland, if he gets past the Giants, that's where he goes. All right, because the Patriots at 4, they'll take an offensive lineman. The Jaguars aren't taking a quarterback. Raiders, they're not taking a quarterback. They signed Geno. Jets can be interesting, by the way, but I don't think they would do it either. Carolina's probably not doing it, so Saints, and I think the Saints, what you said, they can move up then. You can move up to the Raider pick at 6 and then make sure you get him there. So I think the Raiders would be that noise there to get him. If they don't, all right, Carr is serviceable, whatever. Kamara had a good year, but none of these guys can stay healthy, right? Kamara, Olave, Cooks, none of them can stay healthy here. So if they don't take a quarterback there, once again, they're sort of in the same what I just talked about Chicago, outside the running back. I don't think they're going to replace Kamara. They just signed to a contract extension, which I did not understand. But they could be the first team to take a wide receiver. Maybe they're going to take Gould and McMillan here because they got to worry about Olave. They did sign Cooks and they have Shaheed, so maybe not. Could they go Tyler Warren? They don't have a tight end. Jawan Johnson's okay, but could they go Tyler Warren, who some believe is a top 5 pick in this draft? And he's maybe not quite Bowers, but the next thing here, all right, easier division. I'm okay with the Saints, but I think they are that team that's going to be reevaluated after the draft.
Yeah. So, out of all of them, I think I know the answer. What's your favorite? Jets?
I was on them last year, too. Jets.
Jets. Good job, George. We'll do it again soon, I'm sure. Football full circle here on the grid.
Now you've done it. You found the advantage for gaming, odds, and more. But we call it the winning edge for short. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.